Welcome to the God, Money, and Sex podcast. My name is Raul Villacis. I'm here with my beautiful queen.
Yes, happy to be here. My name is Vivian Velasquez.
In this episode, we're going to talk about the 5 stages of every relationship.
And that way you can know where you are and where you need to improve. This is Vivian Velasquez.
And this is Raul Villacis.
Welcome to the podcast.
All right, so if you're watching this live through Facebook, just make sure you comment and let us know where you're watching us from. Daniel, we're going to send a message to everyone in our list as well to join us, and we're happy to be here. We're happy to be here to talk about the 5 stages of every relationship.
That's right. I think that's one of the things that we're really passionate about is relationships because they teach us so much. And if you've been following us, Raul and I, we really love to teach from a place of truth for stuff that happens to us, stuff that we go through, and also what's going on in the world and how do we relate it to like the stuff that we've gone through. We've been together for, it's going to be 24 years in September. And every year that goes by, I feel like we're learning something new. So
before we get started, let's get a poll to see, where you are in your relationship. How many years have you guys been together? If you're in a relationship, I want you to put in the comments, how many years have you been in a relationship? I want to see. What do we got? We got OGs here that have been together for a while. Do we have people who are...
Yeah, listen, we did an event. We did a couples retreat, and the couples that were there with us, some of them were like 20, 30 years together, 35 years together.
It's great to see. It's great to see that.
It's so beautiful to be able to witness that. And yet we are in this era where a lot of relationships really don't last that long. Like they're very, very few. So I don't know.
So one of the things that we want to make sure that we bring up in this podcast is to let you know that no matter what relationship you're in, no matter where you are, you always could improve. And a lot of times I get messages from people saying, Raul, if my husband could change, then I could be happy. Or if my wife could change, I could be happy. The reality is that we all go through stages.
And a lot of times I get messages from people saying, Raul, if my husband could change, then I could be happy. Or if my wife could change, I could be happy.
Can you get the feedback? As you can see, we have to adapt, adjust, and execute. We're doing these things live. A lot of things could go wrong, so we apologize for that.
Like, what?
So what I was saying is, no matter what stage in your life you're in, no matter where you are in your relationship, you can always improve.
That's right.
There's always ways to improve. There's always things that you could do. We were just having this conversation before we started the podcast about this soccer player, right? What's the guy's name?
I cannot say his name or the lady's name. They both have some really weird names.
Let me see if I'll put it up here.
Khabib?
Achraf Hakimi. He is a soccer player for the Morrocan team. And the reason that stood out in our feed is because this guy has been married 2 years in a relationship, has been married for 2 years, and his wife just filed for divorce. And when his wife went to court to sue him for half his assets, because usually when you're married, you have to share your assets, and
right.
They've been together for 2 years. They found out that he doesn't have anything in his name, that everything that he owns is in his mother's name. Mm-hmm. So now she gets zero, she gets nothing, and plus she has to pay him for the assets, because now everything that she has to be split into 50-50. So
yeah, but
what do you think about that?
I mean, listen, first of all, I don't know. It says a lot about a man if he was to do something like that. And at the same time, I don't think that I'm judging him fully there because, I don't have that kind of money. I don't know what that would be, but I know for us in our relationship from the very beginning, we've put our money together. And when I used to work, we used to put all the money in the bank account, and now we do the same thing. So our finances, we know exactly where they are. You're so good at doing that. You carry the whole household, and you're very clear with that. Our money situation is always clear, and it's a reflection of what God tells us, how to be servants with the money that he gives us. And it just says a lot of why is he hiding his money? Why does his money have to be in his mom's name and not in this household that they have together?
Well, that's what happens when you already have an intention.
Yeah, I already have all this money
about where you're going. I don't want to share
my money with you.
So there is an opportunity for you to say, you know what, this may not work out. Let me hide my money.
And that's a lot of money.
But that's what this prenup's for. So if he felt that way, he should have signed a prenup. But we don't know the details. Maybe he didn't have anything, and then once they got together, then he became a star. I doubt it, because they only been together for 2 years. If you look at the history, you have to be an athlete, to be a soccer player. You're pretty much your whole life are
So
playing the game.
He was probably already getting this type of money or around the type of money. So it's kind of hard to like trust someone that is just coming into your life.
But that's what prenups are for. Right? And if you feel a certain way, then have that transparency and have that conversation. Mm-hmm. When I saw that is the fact that she was surprised, that means that he was hiding something. So if you already are hiding things in the relationship, it's going to come out.
Right.
And you already put that intention out there, and you reap what you sow. So if you start already a relationship hiding things, whether it's money, whether it's conversations that you don't want her to see, but you're going to manifest that into your relationship.
And then also, like, it says a lot about where your relationship is, because if you don't have that transparency to have the conversations about money, then like, maybe, I don't know, if she's not worried about the money, or she doesn't take an equation of what happens with the money. But I feel like in a household, you both are responsible for what happens with that money.
And at the same time, when you get together, and especially they're married, there is a connection.
They have kids.
They have kids. There's a connection. There has to be some type of communication in there that says, okay, what's our future hold? What does the future look like for us?
Right.
So let's get in. I think that's a good gateway to kind of talk about the stages of a relationship, to see what stages they're in, and to see what we could learn from this relationship. So
yeah, and it's always good to know like where you are in your own relationship, and like we said, like where could you improve? Like if you find yourself in any of the stages that we are going to talk about, like where do you see yourself? Is it someplace that you want to stay there, or do you see yourself just moving forward and improving from wherever you are to the next stage? And I feel like, when you first get together in a relationship, whether it's a marriage or just a relationship, like you are in this place where you're like infatuated with each other, that you have like this puppy love, like nothing really bothers you. Everything is just about the other person. And it's more like an infatuation of what you would do for the other person. And I feel like that goes fairly quickly. I don't know about you, but I feel like when I was in that place, it's like, granted, Raul and I were together very young, and I don't know, I guess we were there for, I feel like we were there for a long time, but also because we were so young, we really enjoyed that time together.
So the first stage, I know you're talking about it, and I was just sending a message to a list.
Infatuation.
The first stage of every relationship is
it's so much excitement
in
the infatuation.
The infatuation stage is when you have that obsession, that neediness, that place that I can't live without you. I want to be with you so much that I cannot breathe without you. And I remember we went to that phase in high school.
That's what I said.
Like,
yeah, we were so young.
I was
that puppy love.
I was so infatuated with you. I remember the first time I saw you, you were coming into the club. You were in this white outfit, and I said, "I'm gonna marry that girl. I want to marry that girl." We didn't know each other, but that first look, I already felt that attraction, that obsession, that infatuation. But that's the first level of relationships.
Yeah.
And that is where also the negative aspect of it. We've been through a lot together. The negative aspect is that you become needy, and it might expose some insecurities, and you see that's why you see a lot of relationships not make it past that, because they can weather the storm of being infatuated with each other.
Yeah, and then you are depending so much on the other person, because it's like, this is all I know right now. And I think what happens a lot with especially now that I see it with relationship, it's like you leave everything and everyone else out of the equation, and then granted, that's love, right? Like you give yourself fully, and this is what happens, but then you lose yourself so much in this relationship and the other person that you forget about the people that are around you, whether it's your parents, friends, other activities, school. Like it's just like a free-for-all.
And you do things that usually you wouldn't do unless you were infatuated. So I remember I went away one time on a vacation with my family.
Oh God, we're gonna start telling stories. That's really bad.
And back in the days, I think there was no cell phones.
We did, when we were together. No, it was no cell phones.
We have beepers. We didn't have cell phones.
We're giving our age away.
And And my cousin called me and they said, hey, because my cousin used to date your sister.
Yeah.
And then my cousin will call me and say, hey, they're not home. You know, they it seems like they're not there. I said, what are you talking about? Vivian, I already spoke to Vivian. She was home.
The queen has left the building.
No, I don't think they're home. So she drove to your house with your sister and there was nobody was there. So he stayed in the house until you guys got home. And he was telling me how you guys got home at 1 o'clock in the morning and you were in a club. And then I was in Florida or something. I wanted to drive back the same night. Because I was obsessed, right? And you probably also the same way. You didn't feel secure enough to tell me that you went out. It was a whole blow up because you lied about where you were going. I was controlling. I had my cousin outside of your house, making sure you don't go anywhere.
Oh my God!
So that's the stage of being obsessed, infatuated. Without, I don't want nobody to have you. Like you're only for me. And I think a lot of couples, when it's good at the beginning, maybe that energy, but it doesn't last. If you stay in that stage, so if you find yourself right now that you're there for a long time and you're still in that stage, there has to be something else that you need to do. You have to go past that.
It's off balance. It's definitely off balance. That's what I feel like. It was a lot of that for us when we were in high school. But if you have that in a relationship now at a later time in your life where there's more consciousness, awareness, like if you're there, then something has to click. Like you need to have this conversation with yourself and figure out, like, do I really want to be in this place right now in my relationship, or can I grow and show some sort of improvement? If it's even myself, can I do that for me? Right?
And the second stage is the honeymoon stage. The honeymoon stage is where you don't see anything wrong, right? You don't see no wrong. I see you with just these eyes of pure love, pure connection. Like I love everything you do. You're perfect in every way, right? So that's the honeymoon stage.
Yeah, there was a lot of that for us. Like we were so funny when we look back at our pictures. Like we even gained so much weight because we're like.
That's exactly the first thing that came to me is like the picture that we were both like
the food it was making was not the best food.
The honeymoon stage was when Vivian started to learn how to cook. All right. She's still learning, and you did an amazing job now. But the first dish that she learned how to do was shrimp scampi.
One of our friends taught us. She came over, so gracious. She taught me how to make a recipe.
Shrimp scampi. All right, that is like half a butter or
yes, it was
half
a
what do you call it? Half a stick of butter with shrimp and pasta.
And since I learned how to do that, and it was like so easy, and I'm like, oh, I got this. I think I made that like every week or three times a week.
I was eating shrimp scampi.
I
think I was like 250 pounds.
Do not exaggerate.
But we were in the honeymoon stage, so everything you cook, I will eat.
You ate it and it was fine, but then it's like, okay, like let's get on to the next thing. And until now, like I don't like to cook, but at least like I'll try and I'll make something that's like a little bit better health wise. But yeah, I always remember that. That's so funny.
We're living in a one bedroom apartment. It was a small place. It was great. It was great. It was
definitely the honeymoon stage. Yes, definitely a honeymoon stage. And it's a good stage to be in. And I think like sometimes for women, like when I talk to them, like they wish that they could go back and be there. But I tell them like it was just a stage. And like if you want to go back to that and kind of just remember the feeling of it, because for me sometimes like we go through our challenges and I have to go back and remember like, hey, I love this man. He's not my enemy. He's my lover. He's my friend.
But I think you're right. A lot of people are chasing that honeymoon stage.
Yeah, it's like, why can I have that?
Thinking that was what love is.
Right.
That's what it was supposed to be. That's what a relationship was supposed to be. The reality is that is not sustainable. It's kind of like when you buy a brand new car.
You want it to smell
the same and brand new.
Yeah.
That's not. No, you can't have that. You have to enjoy what you have.
Right. You have to enjoy that stage. And it's like, that you had it. And then it's like, okay, let's get past it because there's so much more, such a depth when it comes to relationships.
And what is it? What's the next stage?
The next one.
The first one was.
So the first one was infatuation.
Infatuation.
Then
the second one is honeymoon. What is the third stage?
The third stage is dissolution. Disillusionment.
And this stage is when what I call it, reality check.
You start to notice all the flaws.
This is when reality hits. This is when you realize, oh shit, like I'm gonna be with this person, and what I used to I love about this person now, takes me off.
I hate it.
Now I get triggered by when you do this.
Yeah.
I started hating the shrimp scampi. As a matter of fact, I think I never had shrimp scampi after that again.
I don't think I've ever made shrimp scampi like from that first year that we were at the house.
Because now reality hits.
Yeah.
And then that's when, and that stage is where you start analyzing: is this my partner for life? Am I going to be able to have the same and share the same values, that we share a common vision? I had a conversation today with a friend of mine. He was telling me this was having a rough time with his relationship, and I think this is the stage that he's in, the reality check, because they've been together for years. Now it's time for them to be real with each other.
Right.
The honeymoon stage is over. You're not obsessed anymore with each other. Now the reality hits in, and I think that's where the football player that we talked about, after 2 years being married, the honeymoon stage passed. Now both of them realize, okay, this is not for us. And now he's going for the exit.
Right. There's like a sense of disappointment of like, I thought I was going to get this, and what it's in front of me, it's not to my liking. Because especially for us women, like we have the sense of control, and we think like, well, I'm going to change you, or I'm going to keep doing this, and this is what I like. And when men start to do something else or start to move on to the next stage in your own life, then it's like, it's a shock for us. It's a sense of disappointment. And we either, I think like for us, especially like us in our relationship, it's like I chose to like, okay, well, you're moving on to this new stage in your life. Do I choose to go there? Do I choose to, I often say like, I used to be like a hermit crab, because I would like just want to stay in my own comfortable space, almost like go into this place where like felt so comfortable and not want to grow, not want to go to the next stage, because it's like, it's scary sometimes to move past it. And there's so much sense of disappointment, this dissolution that you're like, like what happened?
Another look back when I think about it is more this, you're disappointed with yourself.
Yeah, not necessarily with each other.
Like for me, an example from me is like when we were in a certain level, that I was disappointed where I was in life. Like I had just started my company. It wasn't going the way that I wanted. As a matter of fact, the market crashed, and I was disillusioned with myself. I was disappointed with myself. I was disappointed like I didn't give you the life that I wanted to give you. And now you have to start going from that place to the next stage, which is you reevaluate. You start reevaluating, okay, is this going to be long-term? Or now is the time, if you get that stage, then you have to make a decision. Are you going to be with a person or not? Because if you don't reevaluate, if you're not looking at your relationship from a place of long-term, as opposed to just the honeymoon stage or this moment, no, where are we going? What is 20, 30, 40, 50 years going to look like from now?
And I think that's when like we find yourself or the relationship, when you step into that place where you're reevaluating. It's like, how do I get past to where, from this moment to the next best version of me, best version of this relationship? Can we do that together? How do we create this vision, right? But if we don't communicate, if we don't know what we want, where we're going, then we can't communicate that. And, you know, like going back to this marriage that, you know, everybody's talking about, it's like 2 years, it's quick, right? It happens in a blink of an eye. But if you don't communicate the things that you want, if this woman is disappointed from maybe even the lifestyle that this man is carrying, like if you didn't have a conversation before, you're gonna have a lot of disappointment and a lot of conflict that continues to rise.
Most people think that the grass is greener on the other side. Well, I'm gonna have another woman, or I'm gonna have another man.
He's gonna have the
same.
You're
carrying the same patterns.
That's right. That's right.
You're gonna go through the same stages. So yes, you're gonna meet another woman. You're gonna be obsessed. Okay, you're gonna be obsessed. You're gonna be infatuated. Then you're gonna have the honeymoon stage, and then reality is gonna kick in, and you're gonna be disillusioned.
Yeah.
And then now you have to reevaluate. So every man that I meet that goes through this, every time they ask themselves, okay, is it me? No, it's that you're not analyzing the stages. You're always gonna hit the stage, but the stage of reevaluation is probably the most powerful stage, because you have to get clear with your partner. First, you have to get clear with yourself what you want, what your values are.
Exactly.
And you have to clear
First,
with your
you have
partner,
to know what you want.
Do we share the same values that's going to carry us on long term? And that's what I talk about. We say this all the time. Love is not enough. Love is going to get you to the first stage, the second stage. The third stage is where love really gets tested.
Yeah.
And now you go beyond just love. you start building something together. You start having the real, unreal conversations. I remember you and I were sitting on a beach, and I asked you the question, "Are you happy?" And you were like, "No, I'm not happy." I said, "Well, I'm not happy either." And we didn't have a bad life, but we had. That's the moment that we had to reevaluate our values, where we were going, to see how we could take it to the next level.
That's right. And then from that place, like, you really got to give yourself permission and know, like, I am more than just this relationship. Like, I am this amazing human being that is coming into the relationship to enhance, to love, to support, to give, to build. And once you realize that, it's like, it's so much more than just, you and I. It's so much more than just the relationship.
What I see also a challenge could be, like, every stage the couples go through is together, right? But what if the woman or the man is still in the obsessed stage?
They get stuck in one of the stages,
and then the man moves on to the revelation stage. And I think that's where you have to start seeing maybe the stages. You're not in the same page.
And everybody's timing is different, because the way that you move through your stages, and we've talked a little bit about this, like, you moved faster, like 10 times faster in moving through the stages, because you went through so much more. Or maybe because I chose to stay where, in a certain stage of, like, I wanted to, like, be the princess and throw a tantrum and get attention the wrong way. And when I realized, it's like, well, my timing is different than yours. And when I honor that part in me, and knowing that, like, well, I don't want to get stuck in this stage. I want to get past it, but it's in my timing. And I think it just felt so right for me to make that decision and not get stuck. But some of us choose to just stay there.
So it comes to my mind a couple of guys that I've coached in the past, that they were in the stage of reevaluating their relationship in every area, just their business, in their life. And their partner, their wife, were stuck in the stage of, I want to be in the honeymoon. I want to, you do nothing wrong. I love you no matter what you do. And then I think that's where a man needs to have the conversation, is I don't want to be just in a certain stage of just superficial. I want to be in a deeper relationship. I think the revelation has to happen when you want a deeper connection, a deeper relationship. I just don't want to be a provider and a father. I want to be your lover. I want to be have a deeper meaning to our relationship, purpose, right? Because the next stage is commitment. The next stage of relationship is commitment. That's when you actually are committed to go all in.
And that's kind of like I wouldn't say the final stage, but like the one where you have this, like, awareness of, like, what are we really doing in this relationship? What are we bringing into this relationship separately that enhances this relationship as a whole? And it really, like, for us, I think it happened when I got sick. It gave us this commitment to know, like, I'm here for you until the end. And I felt that. It wasn't just like something that we say, but we're truly there. And I think that's what kind of also allowed me to grow and to know, like, wow, this man would do anything for me. I want to do anything for him.
Everything that happens in your life, it happens to get to the next level.
Yeah,
and
it did.
If you don't see that, then you're always gonna get stuck at a certain level, because you're gonna become a victim of your circumstances. The commitment level of a relationship is the moment that there's no questions whether we're gonna grow old together. Like, there is absolutely no question that I'm gonna grow old together with you, and I know that you wanna grow old together with me, right? So the level of commitment is like, it's not even in the back of your mind. So there's no doubt, there is no uncertainty. And that foundation of certainty, of commitment, knowing that you're going all in, that I'm going all in, I'm giving 100%, you give me 100%. From that place, we could build a vision. From that place, you could build something that has purpose. Before you get to the level of commitment, you are in the other stages of reevaluation, the honeymoon stage, the obsession stage, and every couple needs to get to the place where there is no doubt in their mind their partner is all in. And if you have that little doubt that maybe he's not all in, well, there's no connection. You have to have that communication, because you have to have that belief that no matter what happens, I could count on this person.
And I was just going to say, like, there is a sense of trust that happens between, the partnership, the the man and the woman, the king and the queen. It's like this trust, this place that you feel so safe that deep down you know that this is like, you're not going anywhere. No matter what I say, no matter what I do, no matter how I act, like you're not going anywhere. And I think for us women, like that place of safety is like, okay, I get to show up and really be myself. I really get to show up and love you no matter what. And it takes that trust on each other, the trust in you and in the relationship. That's like, God put us here for a reason, and trusting that is where we need to be.
So, going back to this relationship for the soccer player, right? I know a lot of men are like, hey, man, that's a boss, man. That's a man, like, protecting his assets. But I look at it as somebody who is playing the game of life only for what's in it for him. And maybe that's the reason that he manifested, he attracted this woman that maybe she was a taker. I don't know him, I don't know her, so I'm just going from the outside. If I was to coach this guy, I will say, the next relationship, have the conversation of, this is my money, and if we break up, then this is be honest and honor the commitments.
Right.
Because if you're saying to a woman, till death do us apart, and then you're hiding money in the back, you're not being your word. You're not honoring your commitment.
Right.
And if you're doing things behind somebody's back, then that just says there's a part of you that's not in integrity. So therefore, you're going to attract that. So maybe he cheated on her. I mean, I think there's some infidelity. Maybe, she cheated on him, right? Whatever it is, you're attracting that energy. But when you get to a level of being committed, that you have everything on the table, and then I'm committed to become the best. I'm committed to become more. I'm committed to lead. I'm committed to own my shit, even if I fuck up, right? So that's what relationships are about. Can you be committed to being your truth? Can you commit so your partner could feel that certainty from you that you're not going anywhere?
I love that. That's so true.
And then when you have that, a woman will do everything in her power to also like show up the same way, because maybe in relationships, everybody doesn't move at the same level, but the leader of the relationship, which is the man, has to set the tempo. If he's not growing to the next level, there's no chance the relationship is going to grow.
Neither's your household. That's right. Just so you know, any money I make is half-half.
Okay. I won't tell you about the stash that I have hidden.
I know all your stashes. You cannot hide anything.
You have all my codes. That's
right. All your codes, all the stashes. I mean, but and that's the trust, the transparency like you have with each other. And granted, I love what you said, because you have to be open and honor, like if that's what you want to do with your money, like if you have like whatever money that you want to keep aside, or it's yours. Just be honest and say, hey, this is my money. This is what I'm going to do. Like
and
if
something happens,
for it.
But then you start putting the seed of doubt, and then you start having that energy. So for me, everything is energy. So if you're already coming to a relationship with that in mind, this is going to happen.
You're attracted.
You manifest into reality whatever you think, whatever you focus on, whatever you are already thinking that's going to happen.
That's right. I love that.
With this, we're going to close out the 5 stages. Number 1 is...
Yes, let's go back. It's infatuation.
This is the obsession part. This is when you're needy. You can't live without each other.
That's right. Then we have the honeymoon stage. The puppy love, the one that we want to be.
You can't see anything wrong.
No
they do
evil.
Scampi every single
connection.
Day. And you want to get fat with each other. That's that stage.
Dissolution, disappointment is the next one.
Reality check.
Yes,
that's the reality. When reality kicks in, that's the stage.
Reevaluation.
This is when you start asking yourself, am I going to be with this person all my life? Or am I going to commit? Because the next step is commitment.
Yeah.
Last stage is commit. Commit to go all in.
Commit to like speak your truth, and commit to like have everything out on the table and know like where is it that we want to go, to have this clear vision, clear commitment, a clear communication for you to really be in the relationship.
And nothing happens unless you have 2 things. You have a leader that's guiding the relationship, which I'm always constantly teaching men. You have to be the leader. You have to lead your relationship. The same way you lead in your business, the same way you lead in your relationship. So you have to be a leader. Number 2 is you have to have a vision. Where are we going? What's the end game? What are we fighting for? What are we making sure every single day we're pushing towards? Without a vision, you can't commit. Without a vision, a man and a woman will perish.
That's right.
So I hope that you got value from this podcast. Make sure you comment, you subscribe. You continue to follow Vivian and I on Instagram.
Yes.
Follow us on Twitter. Follow us everywhere except for our bedroom. So we keep it private. Until next time. Learn it.
Live it. Experience it. Love life.
If you receive any value from this conversation, comment, subscribe, and share as we continue to impact more people and take them to the next level.
And please send us your comments and questions so we could answer them in the next podcast.
See you in the next episode.